the board. The next thing is types of functions. As we discussed it relations, here again there are different types of functions, okay? Like one function, onto function and one plus onto function. So this one function is also mentioned as injective function, whereas onto function is also mentioned as surjective function. One and onto is known as bijective function. First of all, now we are going to concentrate on this one function, one or injective function, okay? Right.
Yes, sir.
So now here in this class we are going to discuss with different types of functions. See, we have just basically three different types mainly. One or injective function, onto or surjective function, one plus onto bijective function. First of all, just to pay attention on this one or injective function. Okay, the name itself is suggesting one. One element is just corresponding to one element. That in the sense, see, if different elements of domain have different images in codomain, okay, different elements of domain have different images in codomain, then in this case we say the function is one. Okay, then the function f is one. Once again I am repeating, different elements have different images, then those functions are said to be one. So I will mention you few examples. See, for a function, this set containing 1 2 3 is the domain and set containing a b c d is codomain. I need to map in different possible ways. For suppose if I map like this, 1 maps to b, 2 maps to c, 3 maps to d. Just have a look here. See, here the elements are different and they are corresponding to different images. One element is just connected to one element. One to one correspondence is there. So this function is mentioned as one function. Okay? Is it clear? Basically it is a function and different elements are just mapped to different images, and that's why it is one. Whereas coming to the second example, this is one example, okay? You may say it as f1, and whereas I will give you another example, f2. For suppose you just connect 1 to b, connect 2 to c, connect 3 to d, and then connect 4 to d. What to say here? Here 3 and 4 are different elements in the domain, but 3 and 4 are different, but their images are not different, and that's why this is not one. This is one, but this is not one. Okay, so different elements are there, but they are corresponding to the same image. Okay, different elements are not having different images in this example, and that's why we say it as not one function. Okay, then look at the third example. Here for this set function f3, I have 3 elements in the first set and 3 elements in the second set. 1 2 3 here, a b c there. Okay, you need to map in different possible ways. For suppose if I map, 1 maps to b, 2 maps to c, 3 maps to a. If I map in this way, and for sure it is a one function. And the last example. Now for the last example, there are 4 elements in the first set, 1 2 3 4, and there are 3 elements in the second set, codomain a b c. You just map them. See, for suppose 1 maps to a, 2 maps to b, 3 maps to c. Okay, so what to say about it? Whether it is one or not. Basically, if you look at this, if you say this as a function f4 from the first set to the second set, then here this is not a function basically. Why? Because 4 is not having any corresponding relation with the elements of second set. As per the definition of function, every element of the first set must have a image in the second set. So for sure, if 4 has a image, if 4 has a correspondence, then we say it as a function. Basically it is failing the property of the function. To make it as a function, we need to connect this 4 to any one of the other elements. So if you connect 4 to any one of the elements of second set, then it fails to become a one function. Is it clear for you? If you leave it like that, it looks like one, but it is not a function basically. To make it a function, we need to give a corresponding image for this element 4. So what is the image for 4? You may connect this 4 to A, or to B, or to C. If you connect to any one of those 3 elements, then what happens? then it fails to be 1 1. Okay, for suppose if I connect 4 to B, 2 and 4 are different and they are connecting to B, so it is not a 1 1 function. So when you observe these examples, okay, this is a 1 1 function, this is not 1 1 function, this is 1 1 function, that is also not 1 1 function. The second one and the fourth one are not 1 1 functions. When you observe the second one and the fourth one, this second function is not 1 1, but we are able to make it 1 1 if you need. Okay, if you connect this 4 to A, okay, instead of D, then it becomes 1 1, right? Here we just connected 4 to D, but you just don't connect that 4 to D, you just try to connect that 4 to A, then automatically it will become 1 1. So here we have a chance to convert it into a 1 1 function just by redefining. But when you think about the fourth function, here there is no such chance. See, here 4 is just mapped to B. You don't have any other element in the second set. Okay, in those cases you don't have a chance to make 1 1 functions. So when you observe these examples, you need to get one observation, and that particular observation is if f is a function from A to B is 1 1. If f is a function from A to B is 1 1, then for sure one thing will happen, and that is n of A is less than or equals to n of B. The number of elements in the first set must be less than or equals to the number of elements in the second set. Is it clear? When you look at this case, the number of elements are lesser. When you look at this case, the number of elements in both the sets are equal, and in this case they are equal. Whereas in the fourth case, the number of elements in the first set are more than the number of elements in the second set, and that's why here we don't have any chance to make a 1 1 function. Okay, basically this is the definition. Different elements have different images. With that definition, I mentioned two different examples. When you observe all those examples, one observation at the end it is a function is said to be a function will become 1 1 only if the number of elements in the first set is less than or equals to the number of elements in the second set. In those cases, we can construct some 1 1 functions. In all the other cases, we don't have any 1 1 function. Okay, right. And the next thing is rule 1 and rule 2. How to decide a function whether it is 1 1 or not. To decide whether a function is 1 1 or not, we have different methods to check. Algebraic methods, graphical methods, as well as the calculus method. And here I am mentioning that algebraic methods. These two are the algebraic methods to check whether f is 1 1 or not. To check whether f is 1 1 or not. See, in this algebraic methods we have two rules. The first rule is directly suggesting you that, see, if x1 is not equals to x2, then f of x1 is not equals to f of x2 for x1 comma x2 in the domain A of the function f. Okay, for example, you have two elements x1 x2 in the first set A. If those two elements are not equal, then you need to check whether their images are equal or not. See, two elements x1 x2 are not equal. If their corresponding images are also not equal, then it becomes 1 1. Okay, see, just look here. 3 and 4 are different. 3 not equals to 4, but f of 3 is equals to f of 4 is happening, and that's why it is fails to become a 1 1. And rule 2, it is just a simply another way of expressing rule 1. In rule 2, for suppose if images of two elements are equal, then automatically those two elements also become equal to say it as 1 1. See, for suppose f of 3 is D, f of 4 is D. F of 3 is equals to f of 4 is true here. If you are able to say that 3 and 4 are equal, then you call it as 1 1. If you are not able to say as 3 and 4 are equal, then it is not 1 1. Here 3 and 4 are not equal, we know it, right? And that's why it is not a 1 1 function. So to check whether a function is 1 1 or not algebraically, we have two rules. Rule 1 is x1 not equals to x2 implies f of x1 is not equals to f of x2. Whereas rule 2 is f of x1 is equals to f of x2 implies x1 is equals to x2. Just have a look, okay? Go for a screenshot. Yeah. Now, I have two examples on the board. f is a function, a real function from R to R such that f of x is equals to 4x minus 7. Okay, this is one function with this definition. And g is another function again from R to R such that g of x is equals to x square. Now I need to check whether these two functions are 1 1 or not with our rules. See, I mentioned you two rules algebraically. Among those two rules, we use in most of the cases the second rule. What is the second rule? If f of x1 is equals to f of x2, then x1 is equals to x2. If corresponding images are equal, then automatically there the elements should also equal. In that case, we say it as a function. Since we need to use equality sign, this is somewhat comfortable to show whether a given function is 1 1 or not with that. Okay. So now, just memorize it. By taking two elements of the domain, we need to consider f of x1 is equals to f of x2. And with the definition of the function, we need to proceed with some logical and mathematical steps. At the end, we need to conclude whether x1 is equals to x2 or x1 not equals to x2. If is equal, then we say it 1 1. If x1 not equals to x2, then we say that f is not 1 1. Okay, just memorize the rule. I will erase it for the space concern. And now I am going to solve the first one and then the second one, whether they are 1 1 or not. Okay. Now, just look at the first problem. Yeah, as I mentioned you just take two numbers like not only like x1 x2, you may take a, b also. Like a comma b belongs to R, such that you just take two elements a comma b belongs to R, which are simply nothing but the domain of f. Okay, such that f of a is equals to f of b, such that f of a is equals to f of b. And then since f of a means f4a minus 7 and f of b means 4b minus 7. f of a minus 7 is equals to f of 4a minus 7 and f of b is equals to 4b minus 7. We need to start with this. F of a is equals to f of b. 4a minus 7 is equals to 4b minus 7. Then proceed in a mathematical way. Minus 7 and minus 7 gets cancelled. 4a is equals to 4b. And then 4 also get cancelled. You left with a is equals to b. So it is very clear. F of a is equals to f of b implies a is equals to b. F of a is equals to f of b implies a is equals to b. What it means? First, suppose if images of two elements a comma b are equal, then those two elements are equal. That in the sense equal elements have equal images, different elements have different images. It concludes that f is 1 1. Okay, f is 1 1. And now just look at the second example. Here the second function is g, which is again from real numbers to real numbers such that g of x is equals to x square. Again you just take two elements a comma b now in the domain of the function g, and the elements are such that g of a is equals to g of b. If you have two elements in such a way that g of a is equals to g of b, now we need to use the rule of the function, definition of the function, which is g of x is equals to x square. So by that, g of a is simply nothing but a square and g of b is simply nothing but b square. See, we have a square is equals to b square. So then what you say? See, cancelling square on both sides is not correct. Since a square is equals to b square, if you cancel square or if you do some factorization, you will get that a is equals to b or a is equals to minus b. Both will happen. If a is equals to b, a square is equals to b square. If a is equals to minus b, then also a square is equals to b square. Either this or that will happen. So now when you look at this, see, we are not able, we can't conclude it surely it as a is equals to b. Sometimes a is equals to b, sometimes a is not equals to, a is equals to minus b. Okay, that in the sense we are not 100% sure about this a is equals to b, and that's why we say that this function g is not 1 1. Okay, when you apply the rule of the function, if you directly reach to that a is equals to b, you say it as 1 1. If you have any complications, if you have any confusion to say whether they are equal or not, then in those cases you need to conclude that that given function is not 1 1. So by the rule of the 1 1 function in algebraic way, in this we will prove whether the given one are 1 1 or not with this procedure. Just have a look. Go for a screenshot. So, graphical method. To check whether a given function is 1, 1 or not by the graphical method. So, to check whether it is 1, 1 or not by the graphical method, first of all, we need to have a graph of the given function. First, suppose, if this is the graph of the given function, okay, or if these are the graphs of given functions, how can we check whether they are 1, 1 or not? See, to check whether they are 1, 1 or not, the basic definition you need to memorize. Different elements have different images, okay? Different elements have different images. So, to say that, first suppose, you just start with any one point on the y-axis, at any one point of the y-axis. See, usually we learnt in sketching the graphs, this horizontal line is x-axis, which corresponds to the variable x, corresponds to the values of domain. This vertical line is for y values, corresponds to the values of codomain. You just start with any one value from the codomain. Any one value of the codomain means at any point of the y-axis you just start there. You just start there and then reach the graph. Afterwards you just directly reach the x-axis. That means domain. So for suppose if you say this point has some alpha, this point has some beta. So the point on the graph is alpha beta. What it means? Beta is equals to f of alpha. That in the sense, for the element alpha of the domain, its corresponding image is beta. When you sketch an arrow diagram, this beta is equals to f of alpha just represents that alpha is just connected to beta. This is domain and this is codomain. So, if you start with one element of the codomain, just if you get one element of the domain, then we say it as 1, 1. This is 1, 1 function. For suppose when you look at the second graph, for suppose if you just start with any element of the codomain, it's your choice. Okay, if you need, you need to check with different points also. For suppose if I take a point here, from this point we need to reach the graph. Here the graph is on either sides of the point. Okay, so you just draw a horizontal line through that point. That horizontal line is just cutting the graph at two different points, and corresponding to these two different points we will get 2 points on the x-axis. One is alpha 1 and the other one is alpha 2. For the element alpha 1, the corresponding image is the same beta if you say. For the element alpha 2 also the same image is beta. That in the sense, for the elements alpha 1, alpha 2 of the codomain, beta is the common image, and that's why we say this is not a 1, 1 function. Okay. So at the end, to check whether a given graph is 1, 1 or not, you need to draw horizontal lines at different positions, not only at one place. You just draw horizontal line, draw horizontal line, draw horizontal line, like that. At different points of y-axis, we need to draw horizontal lines. If those horizontal lines cuts the graph at only one point, it will become 1, 1. If it cuts the graph at more than one point, it will become not 1, 1. Here the graph is just cutting at one point, so it is 1, 1. Here the graph is getting at 2 points, so it is not 1, 1. So when you come into the third graph, this is the graph of y is equals to x cube. You just start anywhere. For suppose if I start there, and then I need to draw an horizontal line. This horizontal line is just cutting the graph at one point. So y is equals to x cube is a 1, 1 function. And when you look at this, so I have a graph. So I just named it like y is equals to h of x. This curve is a graph for a polynomial or for trigonometric like that. So to check whether it is 1, 1 or not, we need to draw horizontal lines at different points of y-axis. You just take a point on y-axis anywhere as you wish. For suppose if I take here, okay, you just draw horizontal line. And this horizontal line is cutting the graph at many points, right? And that's why it is not 1, 1. For suppose if you draw horizontal line here, it is not just touching the graph, right? So you need to check at different points. That means you need to draw horizontal line at different points. Okay. In all the cases, if you pass, then you say it as 1, 1. If you fail at any one case, you don't call it as a 1, 1 function. At the end, to check whether a given graph is 1, 1 or not graphically, your task is you need to draw horizontal lines at different points of y-axis. If those horizontal lines intersects graph at only one point, we say it as 1, 1. If it intersects the graph at more than one point, we don't say it as 1, 1. That's the information. Okay. Just have a look. This is the graphical check. So the next thing is calculus method to check, derivatives method to check whether a given function is 1 1 or not. Okay, this calculus method just we develop from the graphical method only. See, from the graphical method, as we discussed, a function is 1 1. Okay, a function is 1 1 if it won't have any turning points. Okay, for suppose if the graph has turning point like this is not 1 1. If graph has turning points like this is not 1 1. If the graph is like this, we say it as 1 1. That in the sense, a function is 1 1 if it has no turning points. So you know already the derivatives. Okay, see, again we will discuss after this functions, limits, and then derivatives again we will discuss, but I think you have some knowledge related to the derivatives. Okay, so with that knowledge, if the graph has no turning points, then we say that f dash of x is not equals to 0. Okay, since it has no turning points, f dash of x is not equals to 0. Since f dash of x is not equals to 0, then we have two options. One option is f dash of x is greater than 0, and the other option is f dash of x less than 0. Either that or this will happen. Okay, if f dash of x is greater than 0, then we say that f is increasing function, and if f dash of x is less than 0, then we say that f is decreasing function. Again we will discuss about those increasing functions and decreasing functions in the next chapters, but you just leave about something. So if f dash of x is greater than 0 or f dash of x is less than 0, then either f is increasing or f is decreasing. In either of these two cases, either in this case or in that case, we say that f is 1 1. Okay, just I mentioned here. So if you have a function y is equals to f of x, you just try to find its derivative f dash of x, and then you just check whether this derivative is equals to 0 or greater than 0 or less than 0. If this derivative is greater than 0 for all x, you just mention in observe it. Okay, for all x, for all the values of x, if it is greater than 0, that means the derivative is always positive, or if the derivative is always negative, then in those two cases we say that f is 1 1. If the derivative is sometimes positive, sometimes negative, sometimes 0, the behavior is not in a particular way, then we say that f is not 1 1. Okay, so the calculus test is simply we need to calculate the derivative, and after that we need to think whether it is always greater than 0 or not. I will give you one example here, just as we discussed. For suppose f of x is equals to 4x minus 7, you just take its derivative. What is its derivative? F dash of x, and its derivative is 4. We know that for 7 it is 0, for 4x it is 4, right? And then think about it, whenever this 4 is positive, this 4 is always positive, right? Irrespective of the value of x, this 4 is positive. That means f dash of x is greater than 0 for all x, and that's why we say it as 1 1 function. Already we checked it using algebraic method as well as in graphical method. Okay, and now again we checked it in derivatives test also. Just have a look. In calculus way, to check whether a function is 1 1 or not, we need to calculate its derivative, and we need to check whether it is always positive or if it is always negative. Say it as 1 1. In the all other cases, f is not 1 1. Okay, just have a look. For doubts, just raise your hands. Just look there. Now I am going to count the number of 1 1 functions related to this calculus method, graphical method, algebraic method. I will give you different examples in the next point in 21. But now just to count the number of 1 1 functions. To count the number of 1 1 functions, we need to map every element of the first set to different elements of the second set. Okay. First of all, you just think about the element a1. How many chances this a1 has to connect? Since there are m elements in the second set, we have a chance to connect in m ways. Okay. The first element has m ways. Then you just connect the second element. See, already a1 is just connected to any one of these m elements. Then the remaining elements are m minus 1. Then the second element a2 has only m minus 1 ways. Okay. Likewise, if you connect a3, so there are m elements. Already 2 elements are completed. I don't know the elements, okay, but 2 are completed. First one is connected to one element, second one is connected to another element, and still we have n minus 2 elements. So then the third element has m minus 2 ways to connect. Like this, if we continue, an has how many ways? For 3 it is m minus 2, for 2 it is m minus 1. Like that, if you connect, an has m minus of n minus 1 ways. So at the end, the total number of ways are nothing but m into m minus 1 into m minus 2 into and so on into m minus of n minus 1 ways. See, this product can be simply represented by m factorial by m minus n factorial. Okay. So at the end, the number of 1 functions are m factorial by m minus 1 factorial. For suppose if I give you an example, the first set has 3 elements 1, 2, 3. Second set have 4 elements A, B, C, D. This one has how many chances? 4 chances to connect. This 2 has how many chances? Already 1 is connected to any one of these 4. Then 2 has only 3 chances to connect. Okay. 2 is also completed. 2 elements are completed. Okay. Now 3 has among these 4. Already 2 elements are completed. They are just connected to 1 and 2. Still there are 2 elements for 3. You just connect to any one of those 2. So 4 into 3 into 2. This 4 into 3 into 2 can be written as 4 factorial by 4 minus 3 factorial. This 4 factorial, 4 is the number of elements in the second set, and 4 minus 3 factorial means 4 minus 3. Number of elements in the second set minus number of elements in the first set of the factorial. So this is general way, and this is one example. I will give you different examples in the next point again. Just have a look. Go for a screenshot.